Here I'm working with my elementary staff. I have two fifth grade teachers, Ms. Burke and Ms. Johnson. And I'm sitting down with those two teachers as a technology person with them saying, all right, we know the data, you've provided that with us. Let's kind of look at it, teachers, and kind of make some decisions about what's happening with your school. I've included the information about what's happening with these students in reading, math, their gender, race, whether they're ELL, Debbie, special ed, and who they've been assigned to randomly. Watch this. All right, Ms. Burke and Ms. Johnson, you want to know the race of the kids. When you see yellow, those are African Americans. The orange is Hispanic, the purple is white, and the blue is Asian. So you can see you're kind of balanced about the students in your class as far as race. Let's look at special ed. Ms. Burke, Ms. Johnson. Now let's look at gender. You don't have to whine because you both have it equal. It's 50% girls, 50% boys here. Let's look at the race and what's the makeup of the children that we have. Each one of those dots that you see moving represents a child. 43% are African American, 40% Caucasian, etc. All right, let's see what's your percentage of ELL students. 20% of this fifth grade class is ELL. Special ed, a third of the students in this group is special ed. Now, since we know who they are, that's defined by their NCLB codes for us, let's look at what they did in the fourth grade in reading and math. In reading, this entire group average was 453. So you're talking about kids who coming in did pretty good on the state assessment. But our state assessment is only the minimum standards. It's the minimum standards. It's not the end all. We see the range. We can see that we got some students that are below 400 in reading across the board. So collectively, teachers, this is what we have. In math, we even have a few kids there. Well, let's look at it a little different, and that's just posing in there. Let's look at by gender. Gender and reading. So in the females and males, you can see it's kind of evenly balanced, but we want to get all children up. So I'm saying to them, I want all the kids who are below that 400, they need to move up. I would love to see all the kids who are in the 400 to 499 range to move up. Goal is for all of them to go up. Now let's look at math. Next thing, let's look at reading again, but Ms. Burke and Ms. Johnson, we saw the whole group together. This is your group. So Ms. Johnson, you do have only two students that are below 400. Ms. Burke, you have a little bit more. So there are some instructional decisions you will be working towards. Is this making sense? Then here's the math. Ms. Burke, you will have a challenge that some students are below the minimum standard for math, and you have some kids who are at the top. So let's remember thinking about differentiation and grouping. A Venn diagram, I can pull this up. I can say group. We could say how many kids scored above 400 in reading and above 400 in math. And as you can tell, we have a large group there, but there are some kids who just did okay in the reading, but not in the what? Math, and there's some outliers where some kids who didn't do in both. But I can use this particular tool to sit down to paint a picture for them, and then let them decide how we're going to go from there. So the catch is interpreting and understanding the subgroups of who we're working with. We develop a tool for my staff to say what kind of service are we rendering out to the schools. Accountability is important. What are we doing out in the schools? So we said in our databases, our activity type, what school we're working with, what are we doing, what subject, what grade level. And then at the end of the year, a principal receives a report about what we have done to help in that school. So that principal can look at what subject areas we went into, how many times, and when you see the word classroom integration, this particular middle school saw people in my staff 440 times. There are 105 teachers in that school, so you could do the math, right? At least they saw someone, okay? I don't want to put anybody in the math mode. But this is a report that says, and then I break it down by grade level. And so that principal can now say, what's my need? If I have 7th grade math issues, maybe I need to have the math integrators come in and assist us more using the tools that we have to engage those kids more. Something is not working there. So we're using our technology personnel to help support what's going on in the curriculum for engagement. Because most of the time the teacher said, help us to go beyond what we were doing from before. Okay? Sure.
How many people do we have on your staff?
40. Currently 55. 40, it will be 40 next year. And there's a person to specialize in each content area, and I grab the best of the best, people who are exceptional master teachers in that area. I'd rather take a master teacher and teach them the technology than a technology geek to go in and help. I'd rather have a master teacher and teach them the technology than a technology geek. Because guess what? A master teacher who knows the curriculum and has that piece behind them with the technology can make wonders happen between the engagement of children and adults at the same time.